What's up? Hey, in this video, I want to talk to you about 4 reasons to break up. Let's go. Hey, so check this out. By far, the dominant demographic that I am serving are people that are not married. And I think there are several factors, right, that contribute to that. One is the age of the dominant demographic that I serve. And so what do I mean by that? I mean the dominant demographic that watches a video like this. Obviously, we're able to look at the analytics. The dominant demographics that are part of our coaching, or any of our programs. Daniels Den, Bible U, coaching programs, our inner circle. And the dominant demographic that are part of our congregation. So the majority of them aren't married. I'm not saying that we don't serve those that are married, but for the most part, a lot of them aren't. And their age is a factor, and people are waiting longer to get married. That's a factor. And the divorce rate of marriages is also a factor. So anyway, I wanted to do a video not necessarily talking about marriage, talking about dating, because a lot of the questions that I get are not questions about marriage. They're questions about dating. And I think I'll do a video later, something on rating your dating. But I wanted to do something on breaking up, because I feel like, for the most part, a person isn't going to, there are some anomalies, there's some exceptions. Maybe you're an anomaly, maybe you're an exception. Point that I'm making is the average person isn't going to date one person. That's the only person they ever date. Generally speaking, you're not going to find your husband or your wife the very first time you date someone, right? So, and I know some people are like, define dating. I'll do that in another video. What do you mean by that? You take whatever dating means for you and apply this to that. But the point that I'm making is that if I think it's inevitable that most people go through breakups, how can you go through a breakup in a way where it doesn't break you? How can you decide when it's actually, sometimes you just know when it's time. Sometimes people don't know when it's time. So how do I recognize and discern when this dating relationship is no longer serving me well and I need to pivot? Well, I want to give you not all the reasons. I don't know all the reasons, but I want to give you 4 of them to take into consideration. Because if you don't know when to break up, your unwillingness or inability to break up is going to put you in a situation that's going to break you. And I'm going to tell you something. I have seen as a coach to people, and I've seen as a pastor to people, that there are very few things that are contributors to trauma than there are religion is one of them, bad religion at least. But there are very few things, is the point that I'm making, that are contributors to a lot of the trauma in people's lives than relationship trauma. I mean, it can really, really ruin people. And I believe in redemption, so you don't have to be ruined eternally. But the point that I'm making is, you want to be able to do this as well as possible. So I'm not advocating to break up. I'm not telling you to break up. I don't know if you should break up or not. But I know if these 4 things that I'm about to mention are happening, these may be reasons to consider breaking up. All right, here is number 1. Break up if the relationship is breaking you. Dharius, what do you mean by that? I mean, you have a responsibility, and this is so important. And a friend of mine and I were talking about this the other day. I think, especially for people of faith, followers of Jesus, here is one of the issues. I think sometimes it's just bad theology leads to bad practices. So you can have good intentions, a good heart, and be sincere and be sincerely wrong in terms of the way you're interpreting certain things in the Bible. So you well-meaning, but you could be sincerely wrong. And if you're wrong in your interpretation, you're going to be wrong in your actions. Orthodoxy produces orthopraxy. If you're wrong about what you've understood, you're going to be implementing the wrong thing. So many people confuse being self-sacrificing. They conflate that with self-destructive behavior. They think engaging in self-destructive behavior is living a sacrificial life. It's no, ma'am, that is not the same thing. You are the one that is responsible for stewarding your soul. You are a steward. You are responsible for stewarding your soul. Soul is mind, will, emotions, imaginations, and affections. You're responsible for that. And as a person that is responsible for stewarding their soul, it means that you've got to monitor, you got to pay attention to, you got to be prudent when it comes to those things that can break your soul. And so when I'm talking about breaking you, I'm not just talking about breaking you financially, like, because some relationships do that, but it's a lot easier to recover from lost money than it is when a person loses themselves. It takes people much longer period of time to get themselves back. And it takes people a much longer period of time to actually get back a sense of self that they actually lost, like things that are attached to themselves. So it's just unwise to confuse and conflate being a person that engages in self-sacrifice. And many people call it that, but you're really trying to sanctify self-destruction. Being patient with someone doesn't mean subjecting yourself to abuse. You do not have to be destroyed for them to be developed. So am I making sense? Yeah, because when people don't, they allow themselves to constantly and consistently be broken. Their sense of self be broken, their esteem be broken, their values be broken, their commitment to God be broken. Like all of the things that actually matter are being broken in this relationship. And sometimes people can kind of sanctify that dysfunctional behavior or try to sanctify that dysfunctional behavior by saying things like, oh, well, maybe God's using me to help them get better. God doesn't have to destroy you to develop them. One, if you believe that, that's a scarcity mentality. It's not even an abundance mentality. That is a fixed mindset. It's not even a growth. It's not a growth mindset. How can you be a believer in God, in an omnipotent God, and have a fixed mindset, not a growth mindset? So anyway, when it's breaking you, it's time to break up. And it is your responsibility to not to wait on anybody else to get a revelation of when something's breaking you. Don't let them break your soul. All right, number 2, break up if you are breaking them. Because it's almost like, it's almost like more often than not, we're going to put ourselves in the position of the victim, right? Well, sometimes we're not the victim, we're the perpetrator, right? There are times when we have to get a revelation like, yo, I am not relationship ready. And I want to love this person so well. I want to love them so well that I'm going to protect them from them, which right now means protecting them from me. This is so huge. I mean, listen, I've been married 2 decades, so I haven't been in the game personally, but for close to 2 decades, my whole life professional life has been dealing with people. So there's a perspective that I have on this that's not just based on my experience. It is based on my personal experience. It is based on a sample size of thousands of people, right? So it's a perspective that I feel like is pretty informed and pretty diverse. And one of the things that I think would serve so many people well, I know I would want this if I was dating. It's like, yo, if you really know you're not ready, I would want you to love me enough to let me go. Like, because there could be some stuff going on with you that I don't know that's going on with you, right? You have stuff going on that might put me in jeopardy. So it's just like, and so I know that's the way I would be if I was dating. And that seems to be the sentiment that I get from so many people. And I really believe that takes a different kind of person. It takes a mature person to do that. But I do believe that that's something that God will honor, because I think it demonstrates to God that you're the kind of person he can trust people with. And if he can trust you with people, he'll always send you good people. So break up if it's breaking you. Break up if you're breaking them. Number 3, break up if a problem has now become a prolonged pattern, right? So, nobody's perfect. So people are going to have problems, right? And some of their problems all problems aren't equally consequential. So if somebody's got like a little, I don't know, snoring problem, or I don't know, I need to find a better example than that. But you know what I mean? Like some people have problems and it's just like, this is a little irritating, but this has no adverse impact on my life. It is different when the problems that they have an adverse impact on your life, right? But those problems being isolated is one thing. Those problems becoming a pattern that's prolonged, that's another. When the problem becomes a pattern, now the pattern is the problem. And I'm telling you, it takes way more intentionality, prayer, resilience to break a pattern than it is to fix a problem. So when there's a pattern of behavior that is adversely impacting you and putting you at risk, then you may need to consider breaking up. And number 4, break up if the way that they are living their life is destroying yours. The way that they are living their life is destroying yours. Now, you aren't making a judgment on an individual if you have discerned that a certain lifestyle is just not helpful for you, right? It's like, you're judging me. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that's not for me. Right? It's almost like if somebody's allergic to so like my wife has a pork allergy, a pork sensitivity. So pork makes her sick. So if something is on a salad and it looks like bacon, she's going to ask, is that bacon? If they say it's bacon, she's going to say, I don't want that salad. Is she judging the pig? No, she's not judging the bacon. She's not judging the restaurant. She just knows that don't work for me. So I need to know what I need to know what that is. I'm not judging it, but I need to discern what that is so I can make a decision regarding whether or not that works for me. And fam, I think you need to take the same thing into consideration with relationships. The way you live in your life, I'm not judging it, but that's bacon. And I can't do bacon. Listen, man, I hope something I said helped you or will help you help somebody else. Remember, I'm not telling you to break up. That's between you and whoever. But I want you to make sure that you're a good steward of what you're responsible for. That is your own soul. Take care.